Welcome. In this session, you're going to do examples on how to find limit of a function of two variables, x and y. So examples. Evaluate the limit as x, y approaches 0, 0, 0 of the function for xy squared divided by x squared plus y squared. So this is a problem. Now, to solve this problem, we write the limit for xy squared divided by x squared plus y squared. So instead of writing xy approaches 0, 0, we write x approaches 0, y approaches 0. Now, step 1, we start by calculating the limit as x approaches 0 and see the value that we have. So the first step, we start by calculating the limit as x approaches 0 of this function here. So this, by direct substitution, will give us limit of y as y approaches 0. Now, where this x, we put 0, and then x squared, 0 squared plus y squared. So this will be limit as y approaches 0 of 4 times 0 times y squared is 0 over y squared. And 0 over y squared is given by 0. So you'll have limit y approaching 0. This value here is 0. So which is just 0. Remember, limit of a constant is always the same constant. This is a property of limit that was done when you're dealing the function of a single variable. So this is what we call F1. Step 2, we reverse the order. Now we write limit x approaches 0, y approaching 0 of 4x y squared over x squared plus y squared. We write this one as limit. Now x approaches 0, and then we start by limit y approaching 0 of 4xy squared over x squared plus y squared. So this is what we have. So direct substitution will give us the limit in the square bracket. So we'll have limit x approaches 0. Now this will be 4x 0 squared over x squared plus 0 squared, which will be limit as x approaches 0. This will be 0 over x squared. And that is the same as limit as x approaches 0 of 0. This will give us 0, which is 0. So we call this one F2. Now, since F1 equals to F2 equals to 0, we go to step 3. Step 3 is whereby we replace y for mx, or we approach the point through the line y equals to mx. So limit. So step 3, let y to be mx, or put y equals to mx. So x approaches 0, y approaches 0. Our function is 4xy squared over x squared plus y squared. So this will be limit. Now x approaches 0 because we are going to replace everything for where there's y by mx. So we just have one variable. 4x into mx squared over x squared plus mx squared. So this will be limit x approaching 0. Now this is before m squared x power 3, because this will be m squared x squared, so x squared times x power 3, x squared plus m squared x squared. So which will be limit as x approaches 0. Now I can factor out x squared for m squared x squared into 1 plus m squared. Just want to reduce the number of x's in my expression. So this will be limit x approaches 0 of 4m squared x divided by 1 plus m squared. I see this is just a function of a single variable, x. So this will give us limit as x approaches 0. So that's the direct substitution will help us to break this one. There's no need of rewriting the limit. So by direct substitution, why does x put 0? So our function or our result would be 4m squared times 0 over 1 plus m squared, which will be 0 over 1 plus m squared, and this will be 0. Here, this is what we call f3. And you can see that f3 is the same as f1 is the same as f2. So we say since f1 equals to f2 equals to f3 equals to 0, then we go to step 4, which is the last step. And step 4 says replace y for mx squared. So we arrive, or we approach the point 0, 0 through the parabola y equals to mx squared. So limit of the function 4x y squared over x squared plus y squared, x approaches 0, y approaches 0, will be limit x approaching 0. For x, where there's y, you put mx squared. And then we have x squared plus mx squared square. So this will be limit as x approaches 0. Now this can be written as 4m squared x power, so this will be 5 x squared plus m squared x power 4. And we can factor out x squared, so that we have x squared into 4m squared x power 3 x squared into 1 plus m squared x squared. So this and this will cancel out, so that we'll have limit x approach 0 of 4m squared x power 3 divide 1 plus m squared x squared. And because we just have a single variable, then direct substitution should help us get the answer. So 4m squared 0 cubed over 1 plus m squared 0 squared, which will give us 0 over 1, because this will be 0. 0 over 1 is defined and the value is 0. So that's the value of f4. Now you see that all the values of f1 up to f4, they're the same. So we conclude that since f1 equals to f2 equals to f3 equals to f4 equals to 0, then the limit of f of xy exists, and thus limit 4xy squared over x squared plus y squared xy approaching the origin is equals to 0. So that is how we solve that. Thank you.